about what's going on in the market. It's New Dawn Realty's What's Up Wednesday. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Donna Hetzler with What's Up Wednesday. Another week out. Hello. It's so good to see you guys. We have lots to talk about today and some interesting topics about why it is so important. Why is it so important, I'm emphasizing, to use one of our preferred lenders? And I always say one of ours. I know, Brian, you're a favorite, but we always are supposed to give a reference of three or more. And so
anyway, as long as I'm in the top three,
oh yeah,
that's always good. That's what we always strive for.
Podium. You made the podium.
Right, exactly.
You're always the top three to us, Brian.
one or two preferably, but man, you make it on the podium, you're right. That's right. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be
versus being a face in the crowd.
Well, some of the teams out showing property, so we miss you all that haven't been here. We've missed Denise's encouragement as well, but everybody's out working hard in this crazy market. And so we want to talk about why is it so important to not use some of these 800 numbers or big names, but kind of you're just a number type lenders. And so both Janessa and I have an example. One of mine is a client who actually has been pre-approved by one of these bigger outfits, and really good and responsive, and like the lender is fantastic. Nothing against the lender. That lender has been great. However, when we submit with that particular name, it shouldn't be this way, but unfortunately it is. The listing broker has reached out, and we've done various offers, but the listing broker on the last one reached out and says, my seller is very hesitant to look at a loan with this particular name on it. And so for that reason, you're out. And so that's been disappointing because the lender has made late night calls and been really fantastic. It's just the name. The other thing interesting, and you guys probably see this too, but I had a VA buyer that we finally got under contract, but a lot of the listings had said, cash conventional, don't even send a VA or FHA offer. We're not going to look at it. And it shouldn't be discriminated that way, but the seller gets to choose, right? So I'm not sure how we can't support our vets and why that couldn't be a better position of strength for our people. But we had to write it to put that buyer in a position of strength. I had to write it as a conventional loan, which they did qualify for, and then put in the additional provisions. Buyer has the right to change their financing at any time as long as it does not hold up the closing. And so I just did this. We got under contract, and then I get from their lender a notice saying, hey, we need the VA authorization for the seller to sign. And I'm like, well, can we wait until the appraisal comes in first and make sure we're all good there so it doesn't freak out the seller? And we got everything in and appraised. And now I just sent that out saying, hey, can you have the seller sign this? And I got a text during our office meeting this morning that says, hey, did your buyer change financing? I'm like, yes, they did. I sent you a note yesterday. And we are on track to close. We are good to go. So all that to say is, like, we just got to be able to put our buyers in a position of strength, and our sellers, depending on who we're representing, right? And a buyer is not in a position of strength if they are working with some of these big names. Unfortunately, it's just the marketplace. I'm just the messenger. It doesn't matter to me who my buyers use. I want them to use my preferreds because I know my preferreds Brian's going to get us to close. What Brian says, he's going to get us there. There's not going to be any big surprises during the deal. But at the end of the day, it's not my loan. I don't care who they use. But in the process of being in a position of strength and also getting the best terms and everything, it would be best for buyers to use someone who's well known in the business. And Janessa is going to jump in and attest to this. Hi, Young. Glad you could join us on What's Up Wednesday. Janessa, jump in.
Yeah. So, I think it's important too, because we obviously have built these relationships with our preferred lenders. We know how they work kind of inside and out because we've worked with them before. Otherwise, we wouldn't recommend them to you guys. And so, that's where I find myself. So in a deal with a client, he used another lender. with a big name, and this particular lender was just kind of he just kind of dropped the ball and didn't get things done quickly. And so, some problems came up with the HOA getting all that information in time for closing, which it wasn't requested until like 2 weeks after it could have been requested, kind of thing. And then we're supposed to close today, and I found out yesterday around 4 p.m. that the loan couldn't be approved because the HOA is under litigation.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
So, which I should have known this information
way ahead of time. Yes.
So again, just working with the people that, one, I know that our lenders, they respond to us and our clients. They get stuff done right away. We're closing on time, that kind of thing. And, we have the relationship with them where we can get in touch with them easily. Whereas this guy, there wasn't like really a relationship there between us. So he wasn't usually very prompt on like getting back to me. So just super, super important. That way we can have a hand too and know exactly what's happening with your deal in real time, so that we can get you to the closing table on time. And it looks, in that sense as well, not even just like looking at names of lenders, but when you present an offer and you're like, this person is working with my preferred lender, that means something, especially the listing agents, because they're like, okay, well, this agent trusts this lender, it'll probably be more likely to, they'll push more to close and they'll get it there. So
this industry is all about relationships.
Yeah.
It is. That's such a good point.
Hey,
Okay.
Donna.
Yes.
Well, one thing I was going to say too is not only the relationships that we have too, and a lot of the extra things that you guys have to do just to even get somebody under contract, but having that relationship that we have, we can talk through the things when somebody's pre-approved and ready to go, contract offers made, lender letters generated. The next step really also is the lender himself or herself contacting the listing agent to let them know, hey, not only did I write this lender letter for this buyer for your property that you have listed, let me tell you about these buyers and let me tell you how amazing they are and how well qualified they are and all the things that they've done to truly make the letter that I've generated for them to tell you that they are solid. It's not just a bunch of words on a piece of paper. And oh, by the way, now you see I'm local, I'm right here. If there is any issues, you know what, you know where you can find me. It's not like I don't know when you guys are talking about these bigger lenders. I don't know if you're talking if these of the national
size. We're trying not to mention names.
I know you're not mentioning names. I'm just saying, but if it's national or whatever, I get it. Versus because you could be dealing with somebody that's just not even here in the state, and maybe they are reachable. I've heard stories where they're when you're dealing pretty much typically with a call center if it's a national company, but I guess that's why I wanted to specify whether it's big or whether it's local, because the big thing is being local.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing that, like when I work on a transaction with Brian, I know I don't have to babysit. I know that he is going to get, to the HOA, the information and authorizations and things that he needs right away. I'm never going to have a surprise the day before closing saying, oh, by the way, there's a litigation on this HOA and we can't close. Like that's just not going to happen with Brian, right? So, and I also know if this is the same transaction that you're talking about, Janessa, this particular lender realized he messed up and didn't submit to the HOA on time. And then there was going to be a rush fee. Is that so without giving too much detail, but that lender wanted the buyer to pay for the rush fee because he didn't do his job. So these are the kind of things where like, it'll save you money in the long run to work with somebody who knows what's going on, who's readily available and who's local like Brian. So we just want to give you these tips, and sometimes there's horror stories and sometimes you just have to learn by trial and error, and that's just the way it goes. But we'd like to keep you out of the stress of it's stressful enough buying real estate, you know, and then moving and all these things. We like to keep your transaction moving along and handle a lot of things behind the scenes. And when you've got a preferred lender, they're doing stuff for you behind the scenes and there's not those big surprises. Or if there's something big, like Brian will call right away. There's never a last minute surprise like, okay, we got a snag. Here's the snag, you know, the income level has changed. We need to deal with this right away. So I love how you always jump in there, Brian, and get it
Thank
done.
you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're putting so many offers down left and right trying to get a house. The last thing you want to do is be up against one other person, one other offer, terms the same, if not better, what you're offering. And ultimately, they didn't choose you because of who is on that, who is helping you facilitate the loan. It's crushing.
Yes. And Young, I know you've worked with some buyers and got them, you know, pre-qualified with Brian, and there's been some challenges with other lenders and stuff. So you're in there too, in the midst of it, trying to get them done for your clients, right?
Yes, I am.
Put them in a position of strength.
Brian has more words for it.
Hey, that's what we do. We talk through it, buddy. It's all we can
Brian's,
do.
I'll lose my number, Young.
Everybody's their own 1,000-piece individual puzzle. Not all the pieces are the same, and you know, you can once you get the borders put in, the middle part's always the nuts and bolts of trying to make it fit properly.
Right. Well, we're here to serve you, and we thank you for tuning in every Wednesday and all your comments. And as Janessa says, subscribe to our YouTube channel and share with friends and all that good stuff. And thank you for getting the word out and allowing us to do what we love to do. We are passionate about real estate. Brian is passionate about loans to the point he gets off the golf course and right to go like work on your loan. So we're here for you, and we appreciate you letting us do what we love to do. So we'll see you next Wednesday for our next What's Up Wednesday, and maybe we'll have some real fun story that's funny or something. I don't know. So let's get creative. Let's find a fun one. Oh, this worked perfectly. All right, you guys. We'll see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.